Hello, Tony. I think we might use a video replay here.
Super, Ralph. Let's do that.
Oh, yes, we could be in for a quintessential Tango taste sensation here. Why, yes, Tony, let's look again.
Yes, Ralph. The big orange fella ran in from the left, and he gives him a good old slapping.
It just illustrates the bite and buzz. Oh, of real oranges in Tango.
Yes, Ralph. Super taste sensation, smashing drink, lovely.
You know when you've been tangoed.
Welcome back, Lockdown Workshop. Hopefully, we'll be able to finish up part 4 today of this, or not, depending. I may or may not video the bar tape going on. Depends if Jerry stays for it. Blue bike. TT hopefully leaving today. That's been hiding in the back of the workshop for a while now. Finally, poor old neglected Tango is going to get a strip down, and a full strip down. I might even get the frame paint chip that it's got sorted out. It's a bit irritating, that one. In fact, I need to take a picture of that and send it to somebody who's going to have a look and see if they can do it or not. So it's in a bit of a state. Last time I checked it, we were right on the limit of it. Yeah, it's just pushing through on that. Yep, so that's consistent. We are just dragging. It's absolutely ripe for changing. Should have been changed a while back. You see that one's a little bit tighter. But no, that needs doing. So the whole bike's due for a strip down and a clean out. You can see it's pretty acky. Sorry, Wayne. So we'll get that done. We'll peel it down. We'll chuck everything in the parts washer. See what needs replacing. We'll call that part 1. So part 1 is the strip down. I haven't checked this for a while either, and that's got a bit of play in it. So I just need to have a look to see if what the rebuild kits are like on the reverbs, and we might have a part just for rebuilding the reverb. But if the frame's got to go off to be repainted, they won't be coming back a while. The forks were done about 2 years ago, so they're probably all right. They're forks. They're bomb proof. They're not like rock shocks that need doing every year. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Right, back again. Just had a quick break. The bikes have gone. I don't know whether to just give this a quick blast off with the pressure washer first before we get started, because it is a bit of a state. In fact, yeah, I think we'll do that. Right, let's have another proper look at it now. It's a good blast off with the pressure washer. Shouldn't really use pressure washers on bikes, but shouldn't really use the pressure washers on bikes, as I was saying. Sorry, I had to shut the door. There's some noise outside. Yeah, it's certainly a lot cleaner now. It just shows that giving it a good clean has helped, though I'm adverse to that normally. The chain is pretty gone, though. It's in fairly good condition, because I do keep it well oiled and cleaned, even though it didn't look like it. So, you know, the chain has worn out. It's not degraded because of lack of love. So you can see it's still fairly clean, but it's also fairly loose. So we'll pop the chain off, sling that. I've got another one in stock for that. Yeah, I used a bit. I was getting a bit lazy. I used a bit of white grease to try and put some on there. Don't use white grease. It's like it's worse. It's almost worse than that winter lube stuff. It really just cling on. I mean, this has been through the pressure washer, and the pressure washer's not even shifted it. So that's going to have to go in the parts washer. So what I'll do is I'll do what I normally do and bung a bit of tape round there. Mark out where the that was to save having to reset it all again. We'll chuck that in. I suspect the cables might need cleaning. It's probably about 3 or 4 years since they were done, but they are Jaguar, and they were the really expensive Jaguar ones as well. So they might be all right. We'll have a look. The back one was clicking a bit. I don't even know if the thing's on. It feels like it might be. So these are fitted with a clutch mechanism that came in for this particular year, and what it does, it puts the friction against that, so it makes it hard to move it. You take it off and it moves a lot easier. The back block, I think I replaced that not long back, so that should be okay. I think this is chain number 3. So, you know, we're kind of getting to that point where this might need replacing. I'm just feeling, see if any of these feel like they're starting to lip up. It looks okay. We'll know when we put the chain on, because as I've just said to somebody who's come picked another bike up, you'll know, because it'll start jumping if you've taken it one too far. The wheels are absolutely covered in oil and crap, and they've been through the pressure washer and they're still filthy. So most of this stuff's going to need a hand wash. It had kind of an intermediate service not that long back. It had what did it have done? Actually, looking at that, interesting. I think that's for a down lifter. Pulls it up, pulls it down. Yeah, that's for, yes. So that's if it's feeding through the bottom. You put it over there and then onto there, and then it pulls it that way. That one feeds it, pulls it that way. So okay, it threw me then a bit. What was I saying? Yeah, I've completely forgotten. No, it had an intermediate service not that long ago. When it was supposed to have a full one, I just didn't have time. The tyres were absolutely shot, so I stuck the new tyres on that have been sat here for over a year waiting to go on. So they've only done about 2 or 3 runs since they were put on. I stuck some new brake pads in the front, so they are. I don't think they were genuine Shimano's. I've got genuine Shimano's on the back. Actually, no, they might have been. They're vented anyway, so they are the XT brakes, but they are the Dior calipers. So they're not even, you know, they're about the bottom of the range calipers, but you know what, they're not a million miles away from the XTs anyway, and it's mainly the vented pads that make the difference, and the metal's slightly lighter. But they've been bomb-proof. I can't see any reason to change them. They've been absolutely spot on since I got the bike. And the bike's, as I said, working out earlier, I think the bike might be 9 or 10 years old now. So it's cracking on in age a bit. Same with the back ones. I think they had some brake pads on about 2 years ago, and they're still going strong, sintered ones. So I'll just check them anyway when they come off. As I said, we've got a bit of play in the saddle. It's moving quite a lot, that. So we're going to have a look at see if there's a rebuild kit for them. And we'll get that stripped out. We might do a separate video for that one. Forks, as I said earlier, they're probably okay. Nothing wrong with that. I think the headset's fine. I think I replaced the bearings on the headset 2 years ago, and that feels smooth enough. There wasn't any play before I put it on there. Wheel bearings, actually I'll check them. They seem fine. They're running nice. The noise you can hear is the grit in the brake pads from the pressure washer, but they're spinning brilliant. Let's look at the back one. Same, you can hear the brakes just singing on the grit and rubbish in there. Bottom bracket. Now this isn't a ceramic bottom bracket, but I do have some spares to rebuild these, so it doesn't feel like it's got any play in it, and it's actually moving. The last time I serviced this, you couldn't even turn that. They're completely messed up. No play in the back wheel. They're a bit weird, these, because they've got Shimano wheels, Shimano hubs, but the back wheel's a standard quick release skewer, and the front wheel's a 12mm through axle. Anyway, let's start tearing it down so we can chuck everything in the parts washer, and I can work out what bits I need to buy and which bits I've got in stock. So I'll try and keep you quite close this time. Right, let's start stripping her down. So these are through axles. So if you're not familiar with these, it's the bearings run straight on the axle. There's receptors on the forks to sit the wheel in. That goes straight through. You fasten them up. Job's a good one. Just a tip. It's worth shoving these back in just to protect your forks. Don't tighten them up though, because you'll bend your forks in. But just put them in and Just give them a little nip up so it doesn't come undone, but it protects your fork, stops them getting knocked. Not a lot I can do with that. I'll just shove it to one side. The seal bearings, just feeling for graunchiness or movement, they feel fine. The disc rotors look okay. They do have a bit of wear on them, so what we'll do is we will check the minimum thickness on those and see where we are, because that has got a bit of a ridge on it now. So I'll go and have a look on the specs on what the minimum is, and then actually I might tell you on here. Minimum thickness 1.5 mil. Right, let's go and get a toolie. Try to do everything one-handed again. So let's take you over here. Can you see what I'm up to? So get the micrometer out. I hope if I can remember how to use it. So that's standard micrometer. This is where my metalwork teacher at school will be proud of me. A, for using one, and B, for knowing how to use it properly. So you only ever adjust them on the torque setting, and then lock it off, bring it out. Actually, that's moved. And read it, and we are at 1.6. So what you're reading is, you're reading the first scale there, so that's 1 millimeter, and then the rotations round are that's thrown me. Oh yeah, right, that's okay then, I think. Right, so it's 1.5, because there's a half one down there. So on this one, a full rotation is 0.5 millimeter. So we are 0.6 of the way round. So it's 1 point, and you can see the 5 on the bottom, that's the bottom line. So it's anything above that, so it's 1.56. So we are literally 0.6, so we need I would say we replace that now. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever worn out or ever come across a bike that's worn out these. But I could definitely see a ridge. And because I ride a motorbike, I do tend to front wheel brake a lot more than most people. So always worth checking. It'll always tell you on here, because I did check, because I figured it would do. Oh, well, that might explain it. You know what it says about reading stuff. So if you can see what it says on there, it says resin pad only. I don't run resin pads because they are shit, basically. They just don't work. So I'm going to have to go and have a look around. I suspect that the XT version of these will run sintered pads. So if I might, do you know what? I might have bought sintered pads last time, but I'll have to go and find the thing. But yeah, I suspect that's why that's worn down then. Because I've been using sintered pads on it, and the quality of the steel isn't hard enough to take the sintered pads, which is why it says that, and which is why we've worn it down. So I need a 180, so that's the first thing on the parts list. List is a centre lock 180. So actually we might as well get that off so you can see that come off now. We need a special tool for that. A special toolbox. special tool is missing. Must be here then. So weirdly with these is with the back wheel thing, you use the same tool that you use to take off the rear cassette, and for the front one you use the same tool that you use for the bottom bracket. And sometimes it helpfully tells you which way to undo them, but in this case, oh yes it does, yeah, there you go. So it's, like I said, always clean and have a look, because with most of this modern stuff they don't rely on you knowing, because every manufacturer is different, so they tend to put all the information on for you now. So lock that way, 40 newtons, so we're going to go the other way, we're going to unlock it, so we're going to go that away. There we go. Need to be careful with disc brakes, because according to the UCI that I could have severed my entire head touching that then. Right. So that's ready for a replacement. Don't chuck them out though, because if you do break one, because that's still got a 0.5mm left in it, we'll use them. It's probably worth checking the back ones. I did have a problem with the back brakes weren't binding, so I suspect I've probably worn the other one down even thinner, because I was struggling. I had to put new brake pads on, and it still wasn't quite where it needed to be. So right, so that's that wheel off. We'll clean that before it goes on. I might not even video that bit. You don't want to watch me cleaning a tyre, but you can see it's been through the pressure washer, but it's still not shifted everything. So it wants a scrubbing brush and some soapy water. We'll get the spokes cleaned up. Worth checking as well when you've got it off. Just run your finger around. You're listening for uneven noises, loose spokes. They all sound about the same. You could ping them individually, but you know what? Just run your hands around. Any that you're not sure about, just give them a quick ping, but they seem all right. Not bad wheels, I have to say. They're budget, bottom of the range. Shimano MT35s are pretty much as low as they get of their branded ones, so you know they've managed it. And I've absolutely abused these. If you've seen some of the videos of some of the downhill sections I've taken this bike down, to say it's a hardtail, you would be amazed that it's still in one piece, to be honest. So that's good. No sign of any graunchiness, as I said, so I'll pack that one away. Into the box. Right, back wheel. So as with a road bike, it helps if you get it into the, it's easier to get it out in the bottom gear. Half a Conisbrough wood's still stuck in there. Let's bring you around here. Yeah, this is what an unloved bike looks like. Actually, the pressure washer's not done a bad job of that, you know, because that was absolutely caked on. So that's not that bad. I'm quite pleased with that. I did toy with the idea of switching it to an 11 1, but do you know what? I can't be bothered. It is what it is. It's a 26-inch mountain bike. It's a hardtail. It's got a granny gear. You know, maybe with if I've got to replace the crank and everything else, a little bit of play in that. I might have a dive into the. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. There's a. Let's get you a bit closer. There's definitely a bit of play in that. I don't know if you can see. I can see it visibly, so we'll get that checked out. I think the bearings are okay. Oh, they do feel a bit graunchy actually. What do I feel? I've got a whole world of pain to So we'll strip them out as well. They do feel fairly graunchy. It was running okay, but they're fairly, yeah, that's rolling badly. So we might have to get bearing and cup kit for that. I don't think these are sealed races in these. I think they are cups. So so let's do it now. Let's get everything off so we know where we are. So get the big tray out. Who's the new guy? Yeah, I should just pack in a bit of pub. There we go. That was a bit of a non-event. Shouldn't really use the torque wrench for that. Right. Do I have a carrier for one of these? Oh, I don't know. I don't think this is a Shimano one. I think this is a SRAM one. No, it's not. It's a Campag one, that. So I don't even know why I've bothered keeping that one. Boom. Right, so we'll just chuck that in the parts washer. Just give it an inspection. Make sure none of the rivets are loose. It is fairly. No, they're fine. There's a lot of, even though it's had a good blast out, there's still a lot of crap in there. You can see that that one's poking out. Where's my I'm as bad as Musty, just grab what's at hand. You can see there's all sorts of crap in there. Shouldn't be filling my cart up with this, but yeah, we'll get that in the parts washer. Hack all that lot out of there, clean all that lot up, because that won't have been helping the gear changing any. That smells nice. Leave that in there to set. Right, let's have a quick look at this now. I'm using a really shitty rag because I'm taking off all the really crusty stuff, so it's all mud and gunk and rubbish. Let's get the sorry looking chain off. I was trying to see if it got a split link in it. I can't see it. There will be a sacrificial link then, because it must be a good few years since I did this one. So I'm just trying to see if I can find out where the one is that you pop out. I can't see it, so we'll just crack it. Doesn't really matter, we're not going to save anything. I don't even think I've reused the sacrifice. If it had got a removable link, I don't think I would use it. cheap eBay spanners. Come on. Oh. There you go, that worked well, didn't it? This is actually supposed to be a decent one for BMXs. I can see me having to batter that. I'll put a bolt through it. Thread the ends and put some nuts on them. Might do that actually. Yeah, I might just thread the ends and put some nuts on them. Right, I think that's gone through. That's it. Are they looking? Oh, a bit wobbly. That one's not too bad. That one's a bit... they're bull raced actually then. Sorry, you probably can't see that. Drop that back down there. Yeah, the jockey wheels, these were aftermarket ones that I bought. They are ball raced. You see they spin really nice, but they are starting to get a bit worn now. The one on the other side is not too bad. It's a bit mucky, but it's not as loose as that. So we'll have a look at them anyway. We'll get that off, chuck it in the parts washer. Get this off, chuck it in the parts washer. Let's get this brake off next. Might be easier to take them. Take the pedals off. I think they are. Nope. Yep. Of course, I can't find it because it's there. This is the left, right thread. So this one does normally. Oops, I'm looking in the right direction. So I'm just taking the pedals off. I tend to use anti-seize on these to stop them because they are two different metals. So they've come out quite nicely. Put them in the parts locker. Right hand pedal, right hand thread. Left hand pedal, left hand thread. So this one does as if I'm doing it up. And get it out. Am I doing that the wrong way? I'm doing that the wrong way. That'll be why. There we go. It's because I'm stood backwards, screwing the back of it on the wrong side of the bike. The clue was I didn't actually change the ratchet on the thing, so it's obvious it was the wrong size thread. Wrong direction thread. Right. Can you see if I put you over here? You're looking straight at the window though, so you probably won't be able to see. In fact, no. Given I nearly stripped the threads out of a set of these the other day, we'll spin it round. Back you come. Yeah, I just want to make sure I can see what I'm doing with them. Because on the road bike, one of them's chewed itself up. It's actually the seating where it goes into the thing that's eating it. But yeah, they didn't feel torqued. Well, they probably were actually, because it's quite low torque on these. Oops. The crank sensor wants a new or some tie wraps on it as well, so we'll add that to the list of bust stuff. Another special tool needed. If I can find it. Oh, there it is. So these are just finger tight. And throw it on the floor. So this should come out now. If we play silly beggars and flip that clip out of the way, it should come off, he says. With little or no success. There we go. Yeah, the trick is to get that clip out of the way. Yeah, they're looking fairly right. So don't lose. There's a little rubber seal in the back of there. Don't lose that. Right, it's in the back of there. That can go in the parts washer. Sometimes you have to rubber mallet these off, given how old this is. Yep. The size 10 persuader. Ooh. Right, so opportunity to look for damage on these. It's in quite good nick, this. It did have a new outer ring a few years ago, because I had worn it completely out. What you're looking for is if there's any massive damage to these. You can see there's been a little bit of bearing slip at some point, but I suspect that was the last bearings we had on, because they did lock up completely. They feel okay, so they're fine. We won't mess with them. I'll clean them up, I'll wipe them out. I won't mess with them at all. It's usually the chain side that goes first. No, they both feel good. There's no graunchiness there, so we'll just get a bit of parts washer on, just clean out around that area, and then that can go in the parts washer. Splish, splash, splash. Right. So release that. Bit of tape. So I know where it goes. Because, okay, I could go and set it all up again and follow the instructions, but do you know what? It's where it is, and it works. So what we'll do is we'll put that there. And we'll put that there. That tells us what it would if I put that in the right place. That tells us that that went there. So we can just unscrew that now, get that out. So that is a 5. Crack that off. Crack the cable off as well. So they do have a pivot point there, but it looks like it's got a bit seized. There we go. Just be careful when doing that. Probably shouldn't have used that to brace it. Probably should have just put a screwdriver in between it because I could have snapped that off then. But we'll get it in the parts washer, we'll get that cleaned up. I suspect there's a bit of galvanic rust going on in there. You can see that's pretty yucky. It seems fairly tight, there's no bearings gone on it, nothing's worn through. Sometimes these have a like a glide strip, but this particular Bron doesn't have one. This model doesn't have one. It's the mountain bike one. In the parts washer. Spin the frame round again. Don't think I've done a full frame strip down on this one since I've had it. It's had a couple of extreme ones where all the cables have been off and the forks have been out, but I don't think I've done a complete strip down like this before. We'll get them off next. So that wants to come off now. Same thing again, just slacken off the cable, which is around there. Just bear with me. Ooh. Guess where this is going? If I can get that out. Oh, that's helpful. I'm not even going to try and save that one. In the parts washer. What we'll do is we're going to get a bit of a head start on this one. On some of these bits that you can't normally get to. Give me a head start. Right then, let's get the front controls off. So these are supposed to have little plastic clips that clip on, but they nearly always break, so they hopefully make it so you can also put tie wraps on in here as well. So it does make it a bit of a pain up the bum, but I think there might be one or two. That one's still got a one on. That's what they look like. They just clip over. Do you know what? I perhaps ought to buy some more and do these, because it does make life easier when you're doing this than tie wraps. I think one of the problems was as well when I bought the frame, it didn't come with a dropper. The dropper had to be bought as an aftermarket, but they supplied the dropper but wouldn't fit it. Weirdly. There's a whole story around that dropper, which if you ever ask me, I'll tell you about it. Needless to say, I did all right out of it. Oh, come on. Problem is now that this bike's probably going to take a month to get it all back together once I've got all the bits and the time to actually do it. Right, so that's that off, that's all free all the way through. Let's get one of these off. That off, now one more to do on that one. Dump around here, and yes, I still need an haircut. Actually still got one of the original wood clips on it. It has. You beauty. Apart from the fact that it's absolutely jammed in there and I can't get my fingers in to pull it out. But other than that. Right, so I think most of these are off now. Just need to do that one, do that one. Can I get that out with this? Doesn't want to come. There we go. Doesn't want to come off that one. The one on there as well. Yeah, there's one on there as well, just to be awkward. I need a little screwdriver for them, or a pick. Let's go with both. One pick, one little screwdriver. I see why these have never come out. They're an absolute nightmare to get off. In there. I've got a collection of these, and I've probably got more than I've lost off the frame over the years, but I keep putting them on other people's bikes for them. There's one more. Jam the frame in there. That's it. What's left of the tie wraps out. So what we'll do is we'll take, once we get the frame stripped down, we'll give it a good clean out and really get all this stuff off, all the muck and all the bits. Have a look where all the big gouges are. There's a massive gouge there where something's been rubbing in it, so I need to move the heli tape a bit. It actually looks like it's managed to, it's worn a groove in between the two pieces of heli tape. So what I'll do is I'll cut a bigger patch there and redo that. I mean, it doesn't look like it's been rubbing on the front heli tape at all. Right then, can we get these front controls off? I don't need to get the front controls off. I guess it wouldn't hurt. I can't remember if these are a 5 or a 4. I seem to remember they're a 4. The good thing about these, and I do like them, is that they're all one unit, which is why I'm not too fussed about having to take everything off, because they're fairly straightforward and easy to put back on again, with them being just one unit. Another reason why I've not bothered to really change them. Like I said, these are the Dior, which is kind of the entry level ones, but they're hydraulic, they're bomb proof, they're not particularly heavy. It's not like the Sora in the road bike range, which are, I'll be honest, bloody awful. And, you know, and the Tigra's not much better. That's pretty much seized up, like the other one. Come on, you want to do it. Nearly. I really don't want to have to take these grips off. It's a pain up the backside to get off. But I can't remember if I can do them anymore. You have to pop them out of the way to get to the screw to do it. Yeah, you do. size down. Really don't want to do it though. Much rather get them off. Nearly there. Come on, just a bit more. That's it. Yeah, so pretty much seized up, but it's not the kind of thing that gets used a lot. Yeah, they've opened up now. Right, so that's that off. Small Allen key for that. Now, next size up. Can you see what I'm up to? So I'm just taking off the front hydraulic line clip for the front brake. It's attached to the forks. It's just a little like C-clip type of thing. Get these off now. They don't look too bad actually, these. Check the pads as well, see that I've got resin. I really don't like resin pads though. I'd almost pay, I haven't seen the damage yet, what it's going to cost to buy a rotor, but I'd almost consider paying the to replace the rotor once every, what, 10 years, just so I can carry on running those. Right. So just a tip with these, it's sometimes better to put these back in the frame so you don't lose the bits and the order they came in. And did you stop recording? Probably when I forgot to restart you. So I'm not sure how far you got. I'm stripping these off now. And we're just having a bit of a conversation about the fact that you can't get the dropper control off because the handlebar controls are in the way. You can't get the handlebar controls off because the dropper controls are in the way. So then you start to wonder, how the flipping heck did you get these things on in the first place? Flipping heck, right, let's have a... Well, I should be able to get the next size up Torx bit in there. Oh yes. So if we wriggle that out of the way, we can now possibly force this off like we did with the other one. That's it. So they are now free, or they will be when we get that off. So all we need to do with this now is just get this off. And then we are nearly frame stripped. I think last time I did this, I put the forks on. We had new forks on, and it looked like a brand new bike when we'd finished, because the forks just made such a massive difference to the look of the frame. Excuse the chickens, we've been invaded. excuse the wife wandering around with chickens. It's a hobby. She's supposed to release them and give them to other people when they get seed from battery farms, but she seems to have a problem with letting them go. I don't know if I've got the 5mm out. Not seeing it. Carry on going with this. Come on. It's just rolled that, hasn't it? No, not going to risk it because I'm going to end up splitting it. And then I'll be annoyed because I'll have to go and get another one. That's it. Cracking. That's the annoying thing. You can use them on one, you can't use them on the other. Right. Again, put these in here so we don't lose them. Because on some are longer than the others on one side than they are on the other. I think we had that with that XC the XC from Hell we were doing. Right, so that's another set off. Clean them up. Have a look at the cable, check that's okay. Nearly there now. Not a lot else to do. Seat stem out. I know that sounds bad, but it's because it's a carbon frame. It actually has to have assembly paste in it to stop the dropper from sliding down. That's it, and that's off. Just free the cable. There we go. Bash the framing while I'm doing it, but it's my frames. I don't care. If somebody else is already doing that, it's not going to do anything to it, to be honest. No more than riding it would do. Right, now there's a so get that off. A bit for the box. Right, might as well strip the saddle down because we are putting another saddle back on this. That's not in the right hole. I managed to do that. I was going to use the socket to get it off, but I can't find the socket. It's there. Sure what we'll do with this. Yeah, it's pretty crusty. Might need some new screws in that. Yeah, this saddle only went on about this time last year actually, because I broke the frame. I broke the carbon road bike frame about this time last year. So I had a massive rush around to try and get another frame sorted in one of the lockdowns. Well, you can't get anything to do with bikes from anywhere. And to be fair, Planet X did sort me out. You know, and there's some people who say, well, you see, your frame should have lasted a bit longer than that. You know what? Possibly right, but it had had a good innings. It had done well in excess of 10,000 miles. So in my book, that's a fairly good innings for a frame. And given the way I ride it as well, they're not pussy miles. There's some fairly rank road surfaces around here, and I don't slow down for them. So I always used to joke when I'm riding down Manvers Way near where the lake is that I swim at, that it delaminates your eyeballs. I did always say, I wonder what it's doing to my frame. Well, obviously now I know, but it was the seat post that snapped. I think I've got another video of it when we were putting the bike together. So we'll check this out as well. This does need a service kit. It's pretty rusty. You can see in there. It'd be interesting to see what the. I mean that's inside the frame, and that's filthy, and that's inside there. So you question how it's got like that from being in there, to be honest. But it looks like the retaining clips. Okay, I'll be interested to see what pressure I've got on this. It doesn't seem to want to come undone. It's not the first one of these. It's not the first one of these rock shocks where I've not been able to get the valve out on the reverb. I was fitting one the other day and it was new, and the valve would literally not come off. So it should be 250 psi this. So we'll see how many horses we've lost. How many do you think? Should we have a guess? Can I get that so you can see it? So you don't think I'm lying. Well, let's start it off. Undo that. Do that up. Yeah, this is one of the proper old ones. So shall we have a look? There we go. So it's lost about 50 psi, which, given the last time I did this was probably about 6 years ago. That's not bad going. It did seem a bit squidgy and lackluster over the last few weeks. So, but if we're going to do a rebuild on it, I need to investigate the rebuild kit. I mean, that could mean it's got play in it, and it's got play. When you put the saddle on, you can feel there's a lot of play there. But we'll pump it up and just check that it does hold. Carmen Bennett, 250 psi is hard work. That's it. Always go a little smidge over, because you will lose a bit when you do this. Put that back, put that on. So I do need to clean that up to get the serial number off it. So I'll just give it a quick squirt, because the rebuild kits might be different depending on the size. Depends what comes in the kit. Also need to know what age it is as well. Because I bought it with the bike, so it'll be quite old. I've got a part number on there. It's a 31.6 millimeters by 420 millimeters of drop, and it's got a part number on there. So we'll get a quick video of that. I seem to remember, having looked at these before, they're actually quite easy to get off. I've done this before with the forks. If you've seen some of the fork videos, you get a wooden block, cut it to 30 or 31 mil, split it down the middle on the bandsaw, clamp it round there, and then you just put a spanner around there and unscrew that, and that all comes off. It's quite straightforward actually, getting these to pieces. It does look like it needs a bit of a clean up, so that might be getting a quick trip in the part washer in a minute, along with some of that gubbins to clean all that lot up. We'll see how we go. I like that. Caution, remove air pressure before servicing, and it's in a part that you can't possibly see until you've taken the seat post off, which most people won't bother, the seat mechanism off, which most people won't bother doing. For the service, they will leave the saddle on. So I'm trying to get some of the clean-up stuff done now to make it a bit quicker later on. You can see they're fairly empty. It wasn't that long since I cleaned all them off. So. That's okay. So what we'll do is we'll get everything cleaned up, get all the parts in. Then when I've got everything, what we'll do is we'll lay it all out and do a proper assembly job with all the parts laid out over there out of the way, which is how I did the road bike last time I did the road bike. I cleaned everything, got it all laid out, and just did it as if I was building a new bike. It's just easier than cleaning it as I go. That's the Planet X saddle. It's a long nose, big nose. They're okay, but they are what they are. I found it a bit uncomfortable, so that can go in the parts bucket. And I've reclaimed the ISM off the road bike, and I bought a new one for the road bike because that's brilliant on the mountain bike. It's a little bit stubby. It says road, but it's more of a TT. Right, so the bit everybody's been waiting for, the forks. Alright, so we'll just lower this down a bit. This bit. Pull the little rubber grommet out, don't lose that. You would not believe how many times I have lost that. So these are torqued up to 6 or 7. And if you want to know what 6 or 7 is, you can see I was undoing it with my hand then on a T-bar. So if you're cranking round on them, you're putting too much on. And to be honest, that's not your issue. Your issue is that centre one. That's the one you need to be more worried about, is getting the right pressure on that so you don't get travel on your headset bearing. Which, as you've seen, probably 8 out of 10 bikes that come in here have got that. Reactions. I forgot, because this is an older one, it doesn't have the friction catcher built into the top of there. That was a good catch. Let's have a look at the state of it. Get an idea. So there's it looks worse than it is actually. That's just mainly just grease and a bit of dirt. There's nothing that's coming out the headset bearings. In fact, I can't even get them out. They're well and truly in there. No, she doesn't want to come out. I'm not going to force the issue. Just feel it. No, it feels fine. That they are a sealed unit, so there's not really a great deal to get out of there. Oh, it has got a retainer. So the bearing must have. It's got a little rubber seal inside there. You push these on. It's supposed to grip the that, stop it from falling out, but for some reason it didn't. Then there's the spring washer, which is the clamp plate. Let's get you in for that. Which aren't normally a pain to get out, but this one doesn't seem to want to come out. Oh, there we go. So all that is a split washer, and as you clamp down on it, it squeezes and grabs the thing, so it puts a little bit of friction in there. But again, it doesn't need to be massive because the headset holds it together anyway. The stem keeps the the thing from spinning or falling out. But what you've got to do is, because this is a you've got to have a certain amount of pressure on it to stop the play on the bearings, because they are angled bearings and they do wear out, so they do start to pop out. Now this is fairly acky, so I'm a little bit more concerned about the top. Now I think I ended up replacing the top bearing because it did get munched up before. So normally you'd think that the bottom would be the place where you're more susceptible, but it seems that it always seems on this frame that it's the top bearing that cops for it. So we'll just clean it out. It's running fine. Just clean the muck out of the bottom bearing as well. We'll get the frame over and have a look at that when we give the frame a deep clean. So like I said, I'm going to try and get that ding fixed, but I've got a feeling that it might be too close to that to get a good match. Yep, that seems to be running okay. So that's it, frame stripped. Like I said, I'm not going to bother taking the bottom bracket out of this. I know the bottom bracket's good. I will give it a good clean up though. And we'll see where we are. In fact, I'll give that a wipe down now. Not even sure how long we've been going on this video. So these frames are fairly versatile. They can do all sorts. That's what the 456 stands for. Apparently, it means you can take any size of front shock from a about 100 mil travel right the way up to a 60 mil of travel, which is what I think I've got on there. But you can also do them for downhill kind of stuff as well, because you've got the chain retainer hardware there, so you can put a chain retainer on it. Yeah, what I might do is I might pop that out. That centerpiece comes out. It's just a rubber, a plastic filler. So I might take that out because it's got some muck behind it. It might be easier just to clean that out by doing that. Yeah, you can see it's bunching up now. So I might knock that out. We'll do the other side as well. It's generally this side that's the muckiest side, because this is the chain side. So this is where all the oil ends up in it. Probably pushing it in more than I'm getting it out. What's that wide bladed screwdriver? I do have spares of these as well, because they don't always come out well, or you can damage them knocking them out. No, I think we will leave that well enough alone. I do actually have a tool for extracting them properly, but I can't bother to dig it out and set it up, because you have to set it up for all the different sizes. And like I said, the bearings are fine, so I haven't got to replace the bearings. I do have a full set of bearings for these. I can always keep them in stock, because they do. I used to get through these at quite an alarming rate, but now you can. The only noise I'm getting there is the noise of the grit that's trapped around the edge of the plastic rim. So that's almost done now. That's a bit worrying. We've got a massive, great big chunk missing out of it there as well. but it doesn't look like it's worn through the carbon. It's just the gel coat on top. Right, so I think we'll call it that. I might do a part 2 cleaning everything up, and then part 3 will be the assembly. So we'll see how we go. But the frame needs a deep clean. It needs a good pokey around. Just check everything, just make sure there's no damage. I've not seen before like that. I don't think that's serious. You can see the webbings. It's not cut through the webbing. It's quite a substantial lump that anyway there. So I don't think that's any hassle. They're not stress fractures. They're scratches. I can see what's happened. It's probably the chain's come off and it's got caught round, and as it's gone through, it's just taken a big chunk off it. I don't think there's anything more sinister there, but it's worth checking. I'll check around all these areas. They all look just like scuffs and scratches. There's that ding there, which does feel like it's got a little crease in it, but I think that's fine. Again, these are all surface scratches. They might even polish out. Let's have a quick look on the other side. Whatever it is, it stopped. There's a bit of a gouge there, but it doesn't feel like it's anything. There's a chunk missing out of it there. There's the big split there. Again, you use your fingers, you can feel any dints, any dings. Nice big gouge out of the back there. That's like a good war wound with another bike or somebody, or a plant or a bush or something. Really lovely frames these, and it's a shame they stopped making them. Every time you see one come up on eBay, it just disappears like lightning straight away. You know, they just get snapped up. I could probably sell this frame now for more than it. Right, while you were off camera, I decided to pop the covers off these, just to have a look, because this side was worse. There was a lot more rubbish on it. Sorry, I would have had you on, but the battery ran out of the camera. So we're just going to pop them off, if I can remember which way they go. I used to have one floating around somewhere that told me which way they went. These are the new Shimano ones, aren't they? So you have to have an adapter that goes in your tool, because it's always good to have an adapter that goes in your tool. Yeah, so the new ones are a lot smaller. So, but they do seem to have lasted a lot longer. These were put in about a good 4 years ago, and before I was refurbing them myself. I really don't like the new tool, by the way. Just sort of put that out there. Shimano. It sucks. So we might as well get it off so I can give it a good clean out. So I can have a look at the state of the frame on the inside as well. So we'll just chuck that in there. Right, so I've got to imagine I'm doing this one up. There we go. If it's on the left, it has a left-hand thread. Except this is on the right, so it has a left-hand thread. It's the opposite to the pedals. They normally have a little arrow that says which way. There you go. It does. I just couldn't see it on the other one. So it does tell you that it's right side, tighten that way. So we'll push them back together. The frame doesn't look too bad. So that's it. Nothing else can come off the frame. So we will call it a wrap there because I'm going out for a curry in a minute. So I'll get this uploaded. I've got the CX cyclocross part 559 million.2 to go up. That's finally gone now. This needs cleaning. That lot needs cleaning. Fork needs checking. I think they're all right, to be honest. They don't seem like there's any problems. I have serviced them once myself. And I'll be honest, it's a right roll faff. They are way more complex than the RockShox. So last time they were in a bit of a tacking. The stanchions had gone and the floodgate was broken. I serviced them. And then phoned up, and apparently there was a recall on the floodgate, but I'd missed it. So I did a deal with the company that was doing Fox servicing in the UK at the time, and what they did was that they did me. I paid for an upgraded float. So effectively, these are a Fox 32 float now, because what they did was they put the full float damper motion control unit in it, which is what makes the RockShox floats absolutely fantastic. So the only difference between the Evolutions was the Evolution ones used a cheaper floodgate and more like a RockShox style, but with this but that got a recall on it, and it used a pressure cylinder. I've got the piece floating around somewhere. It's an absolute pile of crap. So they replaced that, put that in, and they did a full fork service for free. And as it happened, I think there was a problem with my lower legs as well. So they did do the lower legs, the guides in them. It's a shame. I was hoping they were going to swap the lower legs out for some Evolutions as well. I did ask them if they could put the full float stickers on, because these obviously aren't Evolutions anymore. But it's good. They go under the radar. Anybody that's coming to steal them. So they were done in 2019. So the year before. There you go. In fact, the stickers on there. 26th of the 6th, 2019. So these were done about 3 years ago. And they're fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. It might be due an oil change, but that's about all they will need. So I might have a look and see if I can get hold of a service kit for these again. The service kits are shit, I'll be honest. You can buy service kits from RockShox, and you can service your own forks. Fox, you can't buy Fox service kits from Fox. So the only service kits you can buy are the knockoff ones. And I've got a set of Fox. Oh, they're buried at the back of there. I have got a set of dust seals that came with the kit, and there's absolutely no way they'd have gone in there. I'd have split the thing trying to hammer them in, because they are more like motorbike ones. They've got a metal collar inside, and the rubber on them's very, very thin, whereas on the RockShox ones, they are more like a mountain bike one. They're a lot more pliable. But the RockShox are a way better fork. I can't argue anything about that, to be honest. So right, we'll wrap it up there. Wifey outside. Workshop's in an absolute pigsty again. I need to make a list of all the bits we need to replace that I've found so far. So I'm going to have to go and work out what we're going to do with that wheel. Really don't want to have to buy another wheel. I've got one outside actually. I chucked that on. It's only a 7-speed. So new brake discs. We didn't check the brake pads just in case. So I do need to see what they are. Where's one gone? They look okay. Doesn't say whether they are resin or sintered. That's the other one. How's that one looking? Right, so if I had to guess, I'd say that's the one I've just changed. So we'll assume if they are genuine Shimano's that they will be they'll be resin, because you cannot get sintered. I'll be able to tell by having a look at them, so we'll pop them out, and if I have to buy some more, we'll buy some more of them. But no, they're all hanging in there quite nicely. Oh, that's split. Need to keep an eye on that. It's gone on that one as well. It's gone on that one as well. Well, they're not coming off, and I've got no intentions of taking them off, so we'll leave them as they are. Brake cables look good. So it looks like it's just a reverb rebuild kit. Axle cups, bearings, and the brake discs, and then jobs are good. I can't believe I worn out a set of flipping discs. Nobody's ever worn out a pair of discs on a mountain bike. Cool. Right, anyway, thanks for spanning with me. Part 1 over. Keep an eye on the site. As always, like and subscribe. I am trying to build up the site a bit. Don't forget, I am also TriFit coaching. I'm a level 3 qualified triathlon coach now. So anybody who's into who wants bike plans or triathlon plans, hit me up. I'll do anything. If you're local, I'll do one-to-one coaching as well. I specialise in cycling, swimming, my 2 areas. I'm not saying I'm a bad run coach, but that's where most of my expertise is. So catch you later. Job's a good one.